When I look at the mission and I look at the idea of from silos to collective impact, one thing especially that comes to my mind is a time that we were volunteering. We had a whole group with us up in the mountains of Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador. And on this one particular build, we had a challenge. Our supplies arrived late, and we told the village chief we'd have to bring another group of volunteers in to finish the school. Because by the time that the supplies arrived, we only had a few days left. And that wasn't enough time to finish. Our schools are very big. Wasn't enough time to finish the construction project. The chief in this group called the Poor Indians, she waved her hand and said, "No problem." She said, "Let's finish it now." I thought maybe there was a translation problem until she walked outside of her home and she shouted these words in Quechua, in her language. And she said, "There will be a Minga." And when people heard this word Minga, they stopped whatever they were doing. It didn't matter. Men in their fields dropped their tools, started walking. Women picked up babies, started walking. Children became runners. They went to all the neighboring communities to spread the message. No phone, no electricity here. To spread the message until everyone came together. They walked from neighboring villages, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours sometimes. They literally walked through the night. Sometimes came the following day. And they helped to build the school, to lay the bricks, to see the walls rise, to hoist the roof. Everything you can imagine, assembly line process. Fastest school we ever built. And when they went home, they didn't ask for even a word of gratitude in return. And I went back to the village chief and asked, "What's a Minga?" What was this word, this message? And she explained to me that the Poor Indians believe in an idea that there's no future in isolation, that all of our futures are interconnected, that I may never meet you, you may never meet me, my child may never meet your child may never meet mine, but maybe someday my great-granddaughter will meet your great-grandson. Maybe someday our futures will be interconnected, and so because I helped you, someday perhaps that will help me. And if you believe that fundamentally, that all of our futures are interconnected, then the word Minga, they said, is a coming together of people for the collective good. You stop whatever you're doing for individual gain and come together for the collective good. And as she was explaining this philosophy, this idea to me and to our group of volunteers, she looked at us and every time she'd have to explain the word Minga, coming together people to work for the collective good, Minga, coming together people, the whole word, the whole explanation, she was getting frustrated. She looks at me, looks at the volunteers and says, "Minga, coming together of people to work for the collective good, what's the word in English? What's that word that you say that everybody stops, doesn't matter who they are, and comes together to all help?" And many of you run nonprofits here, so I know when you say volunteerism, it's not like everyone comes running. I thought barn raising. When's the last time there was a barn raiser in Seattle? In fact, the only thing I could think of, and you can't keep the chief waiting, it's a huge insult in these communities, blurted out. I said, "Oh, that idea of everyone joining in and the spontaneity, and we have that. It's just like a riot, but for good. Everyone coming together all of a sudden, running down the streets." Not my brightest moment. But there's no real word for Minga. If you believe fundamentally in that idea that we have to come together for the collective good, that all our futures are interconnected, I believe we need Mingas in families, we need Mingas in schools, we need Mingas in companies and around the world, but we certainly need Mingas in this society, in the nonprofit world. We certainly need to move from silos to collective impact. We certainly need to see that all of our futures are interconnected and that when we inspire young people, whether they be youth serving on boards or getting young people involved through outreach into schools, whether it be helping to inspire the spark, getting youth at this organization, gathering, etc., that is our collective futures. That we're all together on this when it comes to inspiring the next generation of donors, of volunteers, of supporters. Imagine the day where in every school across America, young people learn about the issues that the conversation took place here today. That imagine what a different funding environment, volunteer environment, voting environment that would be to tackle the social issues facing our world. All of our futures are interconnected. We need fundamentally Minga.